All right, guys. I'd just finished up from scrimmage a little bit earlier than last Saturday, but just kind of wanted to open with a plug for this new Dogs for Pups that our players came up with. I want to give a lot of credit to Cortez Hankton and Josh Brooks for spearheading a lot of it, but as we've worked hard with our players and we've been listening to our players, which I spoke to last week, they wanted to do some things in the community. They helped with the food drive, but this Dogs for Pups has really taken off. A lot of the local Athens community kids in the school system are struggling to get Wi-Fi. They don't have it, so this is kind of a hotspot project. And Ben Watson, I want to thank him and Todd Gurley. They've jumped in. Todd's foundation, the Maid Foundation, has jumped right in. Ben Watson pledged $5,000. The Kirby Smart Family Foundation. My family's foundation pledged $10,000, and there's going to be a lot of kids in Athens, Georgia, getting Wi-Fi, and that's the direct result of our players and an initiative that they grabbed. About 5 or 6 players grabbed it, and Cortez grabbed it, and they've done a lot. So it would help us if you guys keep plugging that and sending that out there to our fan base so we can support those guys. But with that, we had a scrimmage today. Similar format to last week, probably the biggest difference. We did a little more goal line today. We did 2nd and 10, third down, which is not an all third down period. It's 2nd and 10. If you get 5 yards, it's 3rd and 5. If you don't, it's 3rd and 10, but it's 2 consecutive plays. So those were the really major change-ups that we had. I thought the guys played hard. It was cooler today. We had, the temperature was much better. It was not as hot, so they didn't have to push through as bad. We got about 135, 140 plays in. We're very fortunate to be able to scrimmage like that. A lot of our peers across the league are struggling to be able to have enough depth to get that number of plays. Some may only have ones, some may have ones and twos. We have ones, twos, and some threes. We're certainly more injured now than we were last scrimmage in terms of numbers. We got some guys down and out, but we're still able to scrimmage, and we still have a long way to go. To be honest, I thought we would be further along. You make a big jump from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2, but it was sloppy. I mean, we had a lot of penalties, and we didn't tackle real well. Didn't play real well in the red area on defense. And then both sides of the ball kind of, when they went ones on twos, overpowered the other one. With the ones on ones, being a little more balanced. But with that, I'll open it up.
Thanks, Coach. For our first question today, we'll go to Chip Towers.
Coach, let me just go ahead and get the Jamie Newman stuff out there. We didn't get to a lot of details from you on that. Just wondering.
We released?
I was just going to ask you when the timeline. I mean, when you learned of his decision, kind of, and how that fell into your plans.
Yeah, it's really irrelevant, not important at this point in time. We're moving forward, and we respect Jamie. I respect Jamie. He's done a tremendous job. I respect any kid that chooses to opt out. But he came and let me know on Tuesday. It was a non-practice day for us. It was actually the day that we went over to the Hunter Holmes Academic Center, and he let me know. And then I think he announced it on Wednesday.
Thanks. Our next question will go to Mark Weiser with the Athens paper.
Sorry, let me unmute. Kirby, just to follow up, what do you think about your quarterback situation now without Jamie? How do you feel about what you have at that position?
It's a work in progress. We had guys today that went out and practiced well. I mean, it almost feels like we really want a guy to assume the lead and take the lead, and that hasn't happened yet. It's you'll have a guy have a great play or a great series, and then come back with a bonehead mistake or a turnover.
Guys,
and,
I did not.
Nobody
Guys.
has. You good there, Mike? Nobody has really just taken charge and taken over. I wish I could say that. Both JT went with the ones today, and DeJuan went with the ones. Carson went with the twos a lot, and then JT and DeJuan both went with the twos a little bit, and then Stetson went with the threes. But we don't have a guy that's way ahead, and I don't know what to say other than we're going to keep competing, and we're going to try to find the best one.
Next question will go to Seth Emerson.
Kirby, do you expect JT to be cleared? Like, what are the chances he gets cleared to play in the Arkansas game? And second part, what is Dwan Mathis? What did he gain last year while he was going through his situation, and where is he right now?
First one on JT, I am under the assumption that's going to happen, but that is not my decision. Obviously, that's the medical decision, and he's cleared to practice, which for quarterbacks is unique because they're not out there getting hit every day. They're non-contact, so we expect him to be cleared by the first game, but that's not a complete certainty. I know Ron feels confident that he's far enough post-op and he's got enough strength in his leg to be in a good position to be able to play. But that's going to boil down to Ron and our doctors making that call. As far as DeJuan, the advantage that he got is that he got to go on the scout team a lot because once he was not medically cleared, and if you remember, he wasn't really cleared to do anything until past May. So we were kind of in the dark on whether or not he was going to, we had to go to like 6 NFL doctors to look at the scans and see the healing in his skull to be able to clear him. And during that time of last season, he was getting all the reps, against the scout team, which is really helpful because you get to feel the rush. You got one of the best defenses in the country coming at you with a makeshift offensive line a lot of times on the scout team, and so you feel that pressure and you get to go in there and compete. He got to take a lot of reps in regards to that, but he is in a little bit different system. So that's it's not like he's in the same system he was in last year.
Next question will go to Anthony Dasher.
Hey, Coach, kind of what stood out, differently regarding the defense today as opposed to the first scrimmage?
I don't know that anything really stood out. I thought we had a couple really nice plays to get interceptions. The guys broke a long way and high-pointed the ball and made good plays on the ball down the field. The one defense dominated the two offense for the most part. They went out and stoned them a couple 3-and-outs and didn't give up a first down. And then the two offense got a little drive going and went down and made some plays, which I was very excited about the two offense getting a little life against the ones. And then in the ones-on-one period, it was it was pretty balanced. Second 10, third down, I thought the one offense dominated the one defense. Red area, the one offense beat the one defense. But in the move the field portion, the bigger portion of it, the defense was probably a little bit ahead in regards to that. But, there wasn't a lot of difference in the defense from this scrimmage to the last. I certainly concerned about complacency there and making sure they're competing and staying on top of things because they got a chance to be a talented group.
Next question will go to Mike Griffith.
Yeah, Coach. I guess I just ask you, what changes? I know last week you said that you had four or five guys and you had to cut it down. What changes now that Newman's moved on as far as your offense? And then I guess I haven't heard much about the tight ends yet, McKitty and Washington. Can you shed some insight on them?
Yeah, not a lot changed in regards to the quarterback. Like I said, Jamie obviously wasn't there this week, and he was the last. So the reps went to really 3 guys and then Stetson in the practices that weren't there. It's not hard for us in practice to give 4 guys reps because we do what we call 2-spot. We're able to get maybe the 1s and 3s or 1s and freshmen and then 2s and 4s work. The quality of that work may not be equal because the quality of the age and the experience of the players isn't balanced. But the quarterbacks get a lot of work in practice. In a scrimmage, there's not but one quarterback on the field at a time. So that makes for less reps in a scrimmage for sure. Second part of your question, the tight ends. I've been really pleased with Trey McKitty. He is tough. He's physical. He works. He blocks. He catches. Does a good job. He got a little bit of a ding today and ended up having to leave the scrimmage, I think, about halfway through. I think he'll be fine. I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure if it's his ankle or his knee, but we felt like he'd be good. Ron was checking on him. Darnell's been working his way into shape. He was at one time 273. We felt like he needed to get down to about 263 to be effective. He's a big man. And then we got Godey and Brett back, and those guys took some reps, and they've done a good job as well. And then Fitz has been around. So we've got a good depth there at tight end. We're trying to figure out what each one's skill set is as we endeavor in this offense and try to figure out the best way to use those guys.
Next question will go to Jake Rowe.
Kirby, I want to go back to the Dogs for Pups thing and just ask you, you've got your foundation and you've been at this for a long time. You guys have done a lot of different initiatives or stuff. Where does it kind of resonate for you and come in for you in terms of the things you've been able to do to kind of support the local community, seeing as how it meets a direct need and it's in such a tough time to begin with?
Yeah, I'm excited about it because it's our kids kept expressing the day we talked, and it was the day of the day after the NBA boycotts. So many of them wanted to use their platform. There's more we can do, Coach. We want to impact more. We want to make change, and you make change with action. You affect young people's lives, and several of the players stood up in the meeting and said, we need to do something in the community. Our community's back home, and our community's here, and we have the power to do that. So we're teaming up two powerful things: our brand in the G, our players' social networks, and asking people to support impoverished communities here in Athens that don't have Wi-Fi. I mean, kids, they can't go to school. They don't have school at home. They can't bring school to them. So I know that we're really excited about them ordering over, I think it's 2,000 hotspots they're going to be able to order, and we're hoping to be able to fund all that.
Our next question, we'll try to go to Dean Legge on the phone. Dean, we'll come back to you. Next question, we'll go to Allison with WSB.
Hey, Coach, Allison Mastrangelo with WSB. Your season was supposed to start this Monday, I believe. How unique is it not getting ready for the season, knowing that it's going to be just a couple more weeks? Do you feel like it's extra good right now, especially with what you have going on with the QB situation, having that delay?
Yeah, I would, it would be really tough if our timeline was different. If we had found this out closer to the game with Jamie, it would have been really tough. But we also didn't get to start when we would have started either. So we're kind of through, I guess, practice 12 or 13, and we're moving along. We've been pretty fortunate, knock on wood, from an injury standpoint. Biggest concern I have is obviously, COVID and protecting our players. And when you talk to the other guys in the league as we share information, it's just scary that at any given time it can hit your team and you not have enough guys to practice and get better. And it just seems like it's a matter of if it's going to hit you before this game or that game, but it seems to be going around the league. But from a quarterback standpoint, the extra time certainly is big and much needed.
Okay, we'll try to go back to Dean Legge on the phone now. Go ahead, Dean.
Sorry about that. Kirby, I wanted to ask about COVID. Why do you think y'all haven't been hit in a big way by it, and it's happening at other schools so far?
Well, I think Ron and his staff do a tremendous job, but I don't think there's anything we're doing somebody else is not. I think the campuses across the SEC, I don't have a statistic of what the positivity rate is across the campuses in the SEC, but I know it's gone up since the students come back, which we expected. A lot of our kids are in online classes or in synchronized online classes, and some aren't. Some are in actual sit-in classes. But we've gone up. We've had more in the last week than we have the previous 2 weeks. So it's a concern across the board. I don't know exactly why we've been a little less than others, but that could prove unfortunate later in the season if we have more of an outbreak.
For our next question, we'll go to Brandon Sudge with the Macon Telegraph.
Hey, Coach, kind of following up on the social justice stuff that we spoke about last weekend. I mean, I've seen a lot of things unfold since we spoke with your football program in the march, some other actions among other programs. So how important has it been to see coaches across this athletic association kind of speak out about and kind of label this as a human rights issue as you guys kind of address your players in the community?
Well, I think the most important thing is for our players to be heard and be understood. We believe in education and action. We want to educate our players every way possible, in the proper ways for them to take action and for them to understand how they can bring about change. And you change things one day at a time, one person at a time, one vote at a time. And we've tried to really impart knowledge on our guys. We don't tell them who to vote for. We don't tell them what to think. That's a freedom that they have. It's a freedom that we all have because we live in this great country. So the education piece has been critical. And I think across the Athletic Association, we've done a great job of listening to our student athletes because they want to be heard, also educating them on the circumstances in our country and the ways they can bring about change.
Next, we'll go to Austin with the red and black.
Hey, Kirby. Yeah, just to kind of follow up on Brandon and Jake's questions. You talked last week a little about having a list of things that the team has created that they want to do for the community, as a part of taking action. I'm assuming that everything that y'all have done this past week has been a part of that. But who have been some of the players on the team that have been more involved in those decisions?
Well, I don't know that there'd be any one guy involved in the decisions. Like when we had the team meeting, everybody was involved. We brainstormed with the entire team. I've had countless meetings with the leadership group in which, I've tried to tell them to grab some initiative and just grab the bull by the horns, and it really hadn't taken form until here recently when we had the meeting last Thursday, and that's when the Dogs for Pups came about. There's a lot more things on the docket we've got working. We've got a group of every position group each week is going to have a Zoom with a elementary school or a middle school that wants to have kids that want to hear from our players, and they want to be mentors for them. So the outside linebackers are doing a deal with Zoom on Sunday, and they're going to meet with an elementary school that has kids that want to hear and learn from some of our players that come from the same background. So they're trying to change lives one at a time, but I can't say that there's any one position or any group that's had more input in that than another. It's a shared responsibility for us.
Next question, we'll go to Charles Odom at the Associated Press.
Hey, Coach, you've been clear that Daniels is clear to practice, open to practice. I'm sure you're protecting all your quarterbacks from contact right now. In that regard, do you think you're getting a good read on his progress, a full read, and there anything that he's not able to do that will make it more difficult for you right now in making this decision?
Yeah, I don't know that we're getting a full read ever. We're not getting a full read on any of them. I mean, DeJuan steps up to scramble today, and you're having to make a determination of did he get sacked or did he not. That's really never fair. And the only way to make it fair is to make it live. And that's a tougher decision. And it's a decision that we've actually thought more about this year than we ever have before. But both JT himself, Carson, they have mobility. I mean, even JT's got some mobility with the knee brace on. But DeJuan certainly is ahead of them in regards to that. So it's a hard measuring stick because you're trying to judge whether the guy was down or not down. Did he break the tackle? Did he not break the tackle? So no, you're not getting a full exposure to what you would like. The only way you're going to get that is A, scrimmage live, or B, play a game. And the game is next in line for us outside of some other practices to get better.
Next question will go to Vance Levy.
Kirby, were there some guys that were enforcers today out there as far as hitting hard? And then who are those guys that are not only hitting hard, but also, making sure everyone's where they're supposed to be and whatnot?
Well, defensively, we got some really good leaders. I mean, it's a fun team to coach so far. We do things as a group. I love being around them. They're funny. They've not shied away from any work. I've really enjoyed being around both sides of the ball, including special teams. But defensively, Richard's been a great leader. Monty's been a good leader. Jordan Davis has stepped up. I mean, there's so many guys that are. They seem like they're experienced and they lead in the right direction. They're positive when things aren't going well, and they have a lot of fun on the football field. At times on offense, I feel like that's missing at times because there's not a bona fide natural leader out there. Most of the time it's Jamari or Trey Hill or Schaefer, somebody trying to get them going. The two backs, the backs spark a lot between Zamir and James, but we certainly need to find that one emotional guy on offense.
We've I've got time for maybe one more question. Anybody want to fire away?
We can do two more, Mike, because I took so much time on my on our promotion.
Hey, Kirby, it's Zach. When you're used to playing in sold-out stadiums, it's hard to hear the snap count. Now that you have less crowd, do we work more on silent counts, more on cadence with the guys, knowing that the opposition on both sides of the line of scrimmage can hear the quarterbacks easier?
Yeah, we've done a lot of work there, and we were not real good at it today. I mean, we jumped off sides on defense, 3 or 4 times, and when the offense did go on any hard count, they jumped off sides. So it's like it's supposed to be a weapon, and today it was not a weapon. It was glut for punishment. So we did not handle it well, and we were more penalized today than we were the last scrimmage for a lot of reasons. But it wasn't clean, and so that was probably the most disappointing part was the penalties.
Kirby, if I understood,
regarding the quarterbacks, obviously there are a lot of questions about this, but what do you need to see from those guys for one to separate himself? Is there a common thread of something they all need to get better at so that they can kind of step up and be the guy?
I mean, you want them to move the offense and score points. I know that's easier said than done, but there's a catch-22 here. If you're going to call plays designed for a certain quarterback, and you've got certain styles that maybe, Jamie, Carson, or Dwan are all different quarterbacks. Right now, we're trying to figure out what they can do. So to only call certain things that maybe fit Dwan or just fit Jamie or just fit Carson, that's not right. You're trying to find out what he can and can't do. Sometimes I don't know what you can't do until I call it to see if you can do it. And we're still trying to figure out exactly what that is. We're in that stage instead of just being, okay, this guy has these plays, this guy has these plays. That's not ever good because we don't know what they can and can't do, and they don't get better unless they get to do them. So we're in a growth stage in regards to that. And the good news is we got a lot of work to do mentally in preparation to get ready for the first game, but also to get our offense kind of in sync, in rhythm, to be able to hit things in rhythm.